Julian Castro cannot speak Spanish fluently, but who really cares? Hi, thanks for watching. Today, I want to talk about Julian Castro, or Julián Castro, because there's been some criticism of the press asking him about his fluency in Spanish. A lot of this criticism is from Julian himself, where he seems to be whining a bit about being asked if he can speak Spanish. And I want to be clear that, yes, if you are Hispanic or of Latino descent, that if you were asked if you can speak Spanish just based on your skin color or your name, that can be annoying. I would say that that's equivalent of being 6'7" going to a party and having everyone ask you if you played basketball. Yeah, it's annoying. But in this case, I think that asking him is totally legitimate. You see, because Julian Castro presents himself as if he speaks Spanish. All of his campaign literature and the sign, right, says Julian with an accent above the A. That's what you would expect from someone that spoke Spanish. When he was in the debates, he delivered a line in Spanish.
Me llamo Julián Castro y estoy postulando por presidente de los Estados Unidos.
When he talked about his daughter's name, Karina, he was very clear to kind of overemphasize the Spanishness of it. And bringing all that together, you might assume that he speaks Spanish, and when you find out that he doesn't, that's a legitimate reason to question him. It would be like me on my channel saying, hey, I might be gone for a week, vacaciones en DF, en la Ciudad de México, verdad, see? That if I were to rattle off something in Spanish, like I'm gonna go vacation in Mexico City, that you might assume that I speak Spanish. But I think that anyone that is fluent in Spanish, it would be clear that I don't, right? That I'm just pretending. Sure, I've finished level 1 of Duolingo, but I'm not fluent in Spanish. But if I presented myself as though I were, it would be acceptable to call me out on it. And that brings me to his height. I tried to find out how tall Julian Castro is. In fact, a lot of people did during the first debate. There was a spike in Google for people searching for his height. Every other presidential candidate has their height listed on various sites, with one exception, and that's Mr. Castro. I think this is something the media is trying to hide. Now, I don't know why. I don't see what the big deal is about someone's height. But it is a fact, and it is something that we should know. But clearly, this is something that the Castro campaign is concerned about, because there's nothing online whatsoever of what his height is. So I decided to do some investigation myself. And I have a guess as to how tall he is. Now, one thing that came up on the NBC blog about the first debate is that 3 candidates used a riser behind their podium to make them appear taller. 2 of them were women, Tulsi Gabbard and Amy Klobuchar, and they both used what was described by NBC as a short riser. And both of those women are listed as being 5'8". They used a short riser to appear a little bit taller. When I looked at them side by side, they didn't seem to be the same height. Tulsi Gabbard seemed to be a couple inches taller than Amy Klobuchar, but I don't hold it against any woman or man, I don't hold it against anyone for exaggerating their height if they want to do that. But what I found that was interesting on the NBC blog, they said that one candidate used a tall riser, unlike anyone else on the stage, and that person was Julian Castro. So clearly, this is something that's important to him. Now, I saw a picture where he was standing next to Elizabeth Warren at the end of the debate, and she appeared to be maybe 2 inches taller than him, and she's listed as being 5'8". But she was wearing flats, and he was wearing some dress shoes with a pretty big heel. Additionally, I looked at some men's magazines that talked about lifts or things that men of short stature could do to appear taller. And there are inserts that are sold for like $12 that will give you an extra 2.5 inches by putting them in your shoes. Now, I'm just going to assume that someone that's concerned about their small stature would definitely wear them for a television appearance. So let's just add all that together, and I'm just going to ballpark it and conclude that Julian Castro is 5'4". Now, I have no opinion on men and their heights. It doesn't matter to me, but I find it interesting that no one in the media is talking about exactly how tall he is. Now, I could be wrong, and if there's new information, I'm happy to correct that. But based on my own analysis, that's my conclusion. Julian Castro, 5'4". He's also not fluent in Spanish. But those are just my thoughts on that. Let me know, do you think it's important to know a candidate's height? And is it important to know if someone can speak Spanish or not? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Peace.